I have to say, I haven't stopped looking at my fingernails and wondering about my heart health for like the last week. So thank you for that. I owe that to you, I think.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Give me a few films that have interviewed you, Christos, as the older you've gotten. Or maybe as a kid growing up as an adolescent, what films influenced you as you've gotten older?
Definitely a lot of films. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like I love filmmakers like Bresson, Cassavetes, like Leos Carax. But the film that made me to want to be a filmmaker was The Truman Show.
Oh, that's a good call.
And I watched it when I was 14, and I loved it so much because I think that's the movie that has the perfect balance. And I mean the perfect balance between comedy and drama, between making something that it is high concept, but at the same time very grounded, and something that it is a little bit dystopian, but it's so humanistic. So I think that it's a movie with a great balance, and I love it so much.
That's a great quote because I feel like you're right. It's got that dystopian feel to it, but it's also got a good feel to it. It's got a happiness and a comedy, but at the same time, it's like, oh, good Lord, this is terrible. This poor man is like just suffering. It's like he doesn't. So yeah, what a great call. I have to say, speaking of great movies, boy, what a great soundtrack on Fingernails, huh?
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, how tough is it? Do you, as a director, do you have a part in selecting some of those? Can you insist on some of that? How does that work?
In terms of the songs that we used,
correct.
Songs that I loved. I grew up with these songs.
Yeah.
And I love them. We have a lot of 80s synth pop songs, and in general, I love old songs. So they were somehow my selection, and then with Christopher Stracy, with our composer, we try to create the perfect balance between having these famous pop songs and at the same time a melancholic score in order to give the tone that we needed for the film.
Yeah, it's got a great score to it too. The vocal music is great, and the score is equally as good too. Yeah, that's a good point. I wonder what this movie would look like, what the clinic would look like 20 or 30 years in the future with AI heavily involved, right? I feel like it would be next level. I don't want to say awfulness, but it would be something that it would be its own demise. I feel like it would be a very terrible thing. Christos, what do you think?
Yes, I am afraid of the AI. I'm so afraid, to be honest. I think that we're letting so many things on AI. I don't know how, and especially people are using all these dating apps, and they're using them in a way that, of course, we're trying to make a comment on technology and on AI with the film, because everything has right now everything has become only one click, and then we are looking on a screen, and love is like this, and we're swapping right or left with our finger and our nail in order to find the perfect match, and but at the same time, I think that we're letting an algorithm decide about us so many things, and love is something so instinctive. We need to follow our instinct and to not letting anybody to decide about us. So I hope that people will stop doing that. I hope that people will understand that love should go through eyes and not through screens.
Oh, but that's great.
It scares me, to be honest, that we are going a lot through screens. I was hoping that after the pandemic, a lot of things will change, but to be honest, it's horse.
Yeah. So. Yeah, instead of that's a great point. I grew up in the 70s and the 80s, more the 80s as a kid, and when you'd meet somebody or the 90s, you'd give them your phone number, they'd call, or you talk to them in person. But now you're right; it's one click, swipe left, swipe right. It's taken the personality out of it.
Yes, completely.
Yeah.
Completely. And I feel that we are also, because we are talking all the time on a screen, it's that we are idealizing or fantasizing things for the other person without really meeting the other person. And I don't know. I think that we need to change that.
You know, when we talk about Fingernails, it's such a wonderful film. It's available on Apple TV Plus right now for those listening or watching. Why would anybody want to take this test when 85% of the time, about, or maybe a little more, it'll prove to be negative news, right? Like I think it works like 13 to 15%. I think the film said where it's 100% accurate. Why would anybody subject themselves to that and getting a 0 or a 50? My heart would, if my wife took this test and that happened, my heart would break, Christos. My heart would be shattered on the floor. I could not do this. I can't get over. I don't know why anybody would even try to do this. I mean, the idea is amazing, but I don't know. It takes guts to do this, right?
Yes, but because a lot of people did it at the beginning.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, as we are doing a lot of things out of curiosity, and they failed, then they were lonely. So they were trying to find answers. They were trying to find ways to prove it, and they were trying to find ways to prove to the whole society also about if they are in love or not. And I will tell you the same thing, that why people are using all these dating apps in order to find love, even if a lot of times doesn't work, they're going to the next and to the next one from there. So I think that.
Yeah. You know, I could see somebody too, because the divorce rate is very high in the United States, right? It's like 60% or 50. So somebody could say, you know what, before we get married and are together forever, let's make sure we're compatible forever. So I could see them doing it from that point of view too. So that makes sense, right, Christos? That's kind of a way to look at it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I have to say, so to me, the mental part of it, this movie does focus on it. It's got a great feel to it, but also the physical part. Like I love the way Amir talks about taking a fingernail off is like no problem. Like it's easy. Like I feel like anytime you watch a hostage movie, Christos, it's like the first thing you see, and it's like so painful. But the way Amir just plays it off, I got to tell you, he's a pretty special actor. He's a pretty special actor.
We were very lucky to have them. They are really great in the film, and of course the way that we were describing, for me, it's something symbolic, losing a nail, because first of all, it's what I said about how we are using our fingers and our nails on a daily basis to touch screens. I think that in a recent research, I was reading that we are touching a screen of cell phone 2,165 times per day.
Wow.
And since we're trying to make a direct comment on that, we wanted to take something from the fingers, and that's why we decided to take the nails.
Yeah.
And it's also, we're trying to show how the pain of love is equal to the physical pain. And of course, Amir is trying to show that to explain to everybody how easy it is. And it was really wonderful working with Reese and with Jesse and with Jerome, of course, and with Luke Wilson.
You know, when you go back to Riz in his career, you know, The Night of, Sound of Metal, and here in Fingernails, he's got this, I don't know, I couldn't think of any other way to phrase it except this. He's got this, like, powerful silence about him. Like, he has a way of convincing or portraying to the audience, like this just, he doesn't do it verbally in your face. It's very quiet. It's very subdued. But my goodness, Christos, it's very, very powerful.
He's a great actor. I really wanted to work with him because I feel that he's also a chameleon in a way, because he can do dramatic to comedic parts very easily. But also, we have never seen him before something romantic, and that's what we were hoping to have with Fingernails, to create something really romantic and really subtle in a way, but very powerful in the way that he expresses himself. And he's one of my favorite actors, and he's really, really wonderful in the film, I think.
Yeah, he's very special, and I want to talk about those actors in a moment. But I wanted to ask you, you know, you look at this cast, right? Jesse Buckley, Riz Ahmed, Jeremy Allen White, Luke Wilson. When you have a cast that's call sheet is very, I want to call it powerful, these home run hitters, you know, they are just amazing. is there pressure on you as a director to maximize their ability, right? Because I try to look at it like if I was a director, which I don't know a fraction of what you know, but I would be like, my God, I have to get the most out of this. Like there's no excuse for not doing well with what I have here. Do you think like that? Is that how you process things as a director, Christos?
For sure, you're trying to maximize all the things, not only because you want to take the best from them, but also you're trying to make the audience feel the most things from their performances, and you need that for the characters that you have created. But I cannot tell you that there is a pressure in that way, or mostly I try to work with them in order to also show that they can do something a little bit different. Because I think that Reese and Jesse, even Jeremy, with what we have seen on Bear, he's doing something completely different. And I hope that the audience will feel that, and they will see that they're having also more sides of performances. They can do more things, and they can create in a different way. And they adapted very easily on the tone of the film, because I call the tone of the film melancholic smile tone, and they understood completely the playfulness, a little bit the absurdism of the film. They understood it and they adapted very easily. So I was very lucky to have them.
Yeah, it's so funny that you say that, because I have it written right here. Like, people know Jeremy from Jeremy Allen White from The Bear, and if I said, listen, I'm going to create a character that's 180 degrees opposite of the character in The Bear, it is certainly Ryan here, right? That's exactly what this is.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why also we wanted to have Jeremy for that role, because he has a very strong appearance on screen, and at the same time as we were trying to create this, I would call it triangle between Jesse, Reese, and Jeremy. We wanted to have somebody that will stand opposite from Reese, that will have also a very strong personality in general.
Yeah.
And it will not be an easy decision, even for the audience or for Jesse to decide. So I think that Jeremy is the perfect choice for that.
Yeah, it's a wonderful cast throughout. You know, Luke Wilson, obviously being Luke Wilson, is pretty amazing. You know, there was talk that Carey Mulligan was on board, but then whatever happens. But I feel like whether you're choosing between Carey Mulligan or Jesse Buckley, it's like a win-win. Like, you have two of the best actors on the planet, so it's like it's not like this major. There's no drop off. It's like you have 1A and then you have 1A, right? It's just two great actors like that could have played that role.
Of course. We agreed with Jesse, with Carey at the beginning from the idea of the script, and but then because of her schedule, she couldn't do it, and but this was very early, to be honest, because when we were almost finishing the first draft of the script, and then I always wanted to work with Jesse on something, so we offered her the role, and we were very lucky to have her. Jesse is also Jesse always surprises me in whatever she's doing, and she's having something that she can surprise you even on set, on every day, on things that she's doing, and she's bringing that on in this character. I think a lot. She has created something very tender, very strong, very warm at the same time, which we needed for the main character. And she's a wonderful collaborator.
Yeah, special talent. And, you know, I you would know this more than I would, but it seems like when the cameras were off and you guys are talking to each other in a group, this seems like a fun group of people to be around, a good group of people to be around.
Yes, it was a great group.
Yeah.
It was... we were very lucky because we became all friends, and it was very easy to. In general, the atmosphere on set, it was very positive and very good. We're all the time trying to make jokes, we're laughing, so it was it was a great set, to be honest.
Yeah, a few more questions. Thank you for all this time. I really appreciate it. You know, I wanted to ask you about Anna, right? So I don't know if I like Anna as a character, right? Like, just from a storytelling point of view, right? Because yes, she's kind, but like there's this. I don't know that I would have the trouble of loving two people equally. I feel like I don't know. Maybe I'm just being like naive, but I don't think that can happen. I feel like your heart is always with one more than another. And I don't want to say polygamy. I'll stay away from that because in the end of the we know what happens, how it unfolds. I found aspects of Anna to be unlikable. Am I being cynical here, Christos? Am I being not a good person by saying I'm not thrilled with what kind of person she is?
I hear you. It's not that we try to make her look like a human, to be honest.
Right.
Like a human that she's trying to decide and to find herself in this crazy world, and to find a way also to escape from something that she's not feeling well. And for sure, it would have been very easy to make the character of Jeremy like the very bad guy. So she's trying to escape from that.
Right.
But,
right.
This could have been something very easy for me. That we didn't want to have this. We wanted to create a character that is a little bit more complex, and everything is also in the relationship more complex. That's why maybe you feel that, and you feel that she's not a very likable character, or a character that, but she's trying to find herself.
Yeah. You know, and it's funny that you said, because the movie is filled with people trying to find themselves, right? Even, you know, the people that are blindfolded or doing like, isn't that the way of the world, right? We're all trying to find ourselves. And I think the film does a wonderful job of showing people potentially vulnerable, but like trying to find their way in the world. And I think for me, the film plays very warm, very cozy, but it also plays to where you're really able to see humanity and how humanity does struggle at times, right? There's no perfect A to B solution for everything. And I think that's one of the main strengths of the film.
Yes, for sure. And it's, I think that we are a little bit lost, and we are really lonely in our life. And because we are so lonely, I think that we are trying to understand the world around us, and we're trying to find our position in this world. But we need to try a little bit more, I think.
Yeah. As a director, right? So that's a huge responsibility. When you add writer to that, how much more work is involved?
When we're adding, sorry.
So when you, as a director, I feel like being a director is a hard job as it is, right? I feel like it's a very difficult job. You also co-wrote the film, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So when you add that plus your directing responsibilities, was that more time consuming? A lot more time consuming? Was a lot more difficult doing the writing portion as well?
To be honest, I don't think that I can direct very easily something that I haven't written. So it goes together. I'm always thinking something by creating something, and not by just taking something that somebody else has written. Or so I haven't done it until now. So I don't know how it is to direct without writing. I'm always thinking it as one thing.
So do you think, so say if I wrote a movie, right, and it's a phenomenal script, is that something that some directors would have a difficulty in directing because it's not coming from their heart, it's not coming from their soul, because it's coming from somebody else? Because I feel like different directors have different perspectives. Would that be a lot more difficult, you think, for you personally?
I think that yes. Even if it's something really special, I think that it will be difficult if it's not coming from somewhere that it has to be perfect. It has to be completely compatible with me in order to be able to direct it. But I haven't found yet something like that, to be honest.
Where was the majority of the film shot?
In Toronto.
Yeah. Canada is turning into Hollywood North, I feel like. I feel like there's so many beautiful projects coming out of Canada.
Yes, it's a wonderful place to shoot, and at the same time, I know with the tax incentive and other, there are other ways that for the productions are a little bit, they can be more flexible, and it's easier for them to shoot there. So that's why a lot of productions are going there. The only tricky thing is that you don't have a lot of time during the year because of the weather in order to shoot, unless if you want to do movies that includes a lot of snow.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. Like the what's the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, the Revenant? Yeah, I mean,
yes.
yeah. Unless you're doing something like that, you better be shooting in season. My last question is, my favorite part of this movie is, and I think we've touched on a little bit of this, is that love is love, right? There's no measurable, right? There's no number, there's no percentage, there's no science. Science can prove a lot of things. Science can prove vaccines, science can prove disease. What science can't prove is how much somebody loves another person. And I think of everything I loved about this movie, that is easily my favorite.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, it's of course we cannot measure love. We cannot even analyze love. Love is something that we need only to feel, and it's good to not relate it with science and just to try to feel it more and to see it more. As I said earlier, not in screens but in eyes, and love should go through eyes, and just to have to trust ourselves a little bit more, because it's not something that we need to prove. We're not proving it to anybody. It's something that we need to work on it every day, and to make it stronger for you and for your partner and in general, to have it in your life.
Yeah, that's well said. I want to tell you also, on a side note, how special of a project Apples was. Totally loved it. Yeah, you are definitely a gifted director, and I thank you so much for this time. It means a lot to me. And Fingernails is available now on Apple TV Plus, which is one of the best bargains on streaming right now. Thank you so much, and I wish you nothing but happiness. Hopefully, we'll talk again.
Thank you so much. Thank you.